A New Hope, Nier Chapter 81. Please subscribe to patreon.com/Azazyel to read all of Azazyel's stories. The darkness portal I made directly to the Nier world didn't have any issues as far as I could tell, nor had I ever noticed any issues when I jumped between the two worlds. Maybe if I were to wander again in the blind undulating darkness between worlds, I could come across something or someone that could become an issue, but my direct tunnels only took me moments of walking between the world's doors to enter the other. Upon entering the world of Nier Automata, one grimaced as I felt the masso energy density in the air must have still been further increasing while I was gone. So, I knew this was to be one of my last trips here. I took out my scroll and connected to Yoarha through it, but as my scroll synced to it my face twitched as the scroll updated and I realized it was likely downloading some machine army personality within it. "Jake, you are back much later than we expected. Is everything alright?" Commander White's voice came through my scroll as its hologram setting took a moment to boot up and show the blonde voluptuous form of the leader of Yoarha sitting in some kind of office. No, there were complications with the magical indigenous monsters of the land. They wrecked the 3D printers, and the girls were only just able to fully restore them and have them begin the process of creating Yoarha bodies for the world of Remnant, I explained, and White's eyebrows raised in thought as she considered the news. Finally White spoke again after she did some mental gymnastics. "Then, is your objective to retrieve more androids to help build Yora's power base?" Commander White spoke with a frown, and I wondered how they were doing here on the planet overrun by monsters and machine army robots. "No. I came to take the downloaded consciousness of you all, to then be transferred into the new Yoarha bodies back on Remnant. Just abandon the bodies you hold now, as I simply cannot make the hundreds of trips it would take me to take the androids to Remnant, but taking a couple of cases of black boxes won't be an issue," I said, and Commander White brushed a hand over her face as she stared into the distance. "After fighting for this Earth for so long, it feels like a weight is taken off of me to abandon it. But Yoarha has not failed its mission as you are of this Earth, and so long as you live, the humanity of this world will remain." Commander White spoke, and I realized she was actually giving a speech as I heard operator units in the background whispering in the background of the call. After a couple more lines of impromptu speech, Commander White sagged into her seat and then her eyes snapped to me as I was still on the call. "Jake, I will have Yoarha agents blow up their black boxes in the field, and here are the coordinates for the servers on Earth that host the latest backed-up consciousnesses of Yoarha model androids. Just hurry up, Jake. I am very excited to hold you within my new body on Remnant." "So, are the rest of the operators here, huh?" White chuckled softly, and I smiled as I heard the operators giggling in the background. "Alright, girls, just hold tight. I will go grab the server boxes, and the next thing you know, you will be on Remnant in no time," I said consolingly as I received the location to the server tower that hosted the ground-based Yoarha agent's consciousness. I quickly flew over to the location and only had to deal with a couple of flying machine army robots. As I arrived at Yora's main ground base, I saw how the ground surrounding it were scored with massive pits, and I realized White had already had the Yoarha androids blow themselves up to clear the way of any monsters or machine army robots so I could get to the server bases. Following White's directions, I easily took a small tunnel that bypassed the ridiculous defenses the base had to defend the servers, and once I entered the main server room, I deadpanned, seeing the work ahead of me. "Well, looks like there are 2 or 3 trips ahead of me," I muttered, seeing the jumbo server towers I would need to lift carefully by uprooting the dense stone beneath it, as I obviously couldn't use my magnetic magic stuff to move the server towers. Thank God White was smart enough to use stone blocks I could lift with my magic more like. I groaned as I began the arduous process of transporting the large server towers through the darkness portal to Remnant. "Jake, you are back already. Is Commander White in there?" 9S asked me excitedly as she jogged over and looked at the last server tower I placed in the storage room Ojban gave us. But I made sure to put all the servers within Faraday cages so the enviable machine army entities within couldn't infect any Remnant tech. "Yeah, she should be. So should 2B and the rest as well. I miss her, so don't worry," I said to 9S as I saw her sag a bit at the mention of her best friend who had been left behind temporarily in the Nier world to hold the line as we got set up here on Remnant. "Alright, send a message to Devola and Popula to begin promptly uploading the consciousness of Commander White, 2B, and 6E after clearing them for any machine army influence into their new bodies. It's best we don't leave them in the server banks for long," I muttered at the end as I hoped those 3 girls who weren't with me now would take the transfer. Alright. "Yes, Jake. Popula and Devola are on their way back from tending to your consort Weiss. Schnee and Weiss said she wants you back if you are done with your work," 9S said with her head cutely angling to the side as she continued to mutter. What in the world is a quickie? I just chuckled and patted my still adorably naive 9S on her head and wondered if I could convince Weiss to allow me to bring 9S into our bed so I could experience twins with how 9S was almost a copy of Weiss.